PETA stands for People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals. They were founded on March 22nd in Roxville, Missouri, or somewhere near there. I'm not sure the exact location. And their main goal is to guarantee rights for animals, saying that they are not ours to eat, use for experiments, or wear as clothes. So, however, what if I told you, despite all those goals, they have caused more harm for animals and people than they have done good? Today, I am Zeak Sorenson, and I will be going over the problems with PETA. Some of their main problems are on the moral, social, and psychological level. And now, some people will defend PETA by saying that they have brought animal abuse to the light and helped people figure out where to go if they want to report it. I will admit they have done this and they have helped. However, this does not defend some of their horrible actions. Let's start with their moral problems. Their worst case they have ever done is the story of Maya. Maya was a 3-year-old Chihuahua that lived in a trailer park called that I don't remember the exact name, but I know it had trailer in it. And locals say that the park is hard to find unless you know where you're going. 2 PETA agents went there on request to round up some stray cats that have been living in the area. They stayed there for a few weeks, meeting the locals and figuring out who owns dogs. Then, one day on October 18th, 2004, they show up to Maya's family's house after everyone had left in this white van. Now, what they did, it was not show up to just visit Maya, though. They were trying to lure her off the property using dog biscuits. However, Maya would not stay off long enough for them to grab her, because they wanted her off the property so she could be locked up as a stray at large. And when Maya would not stay off, one of the agents got up and just walked onto the property and took her. Thankfully, the family had installed security cameras to make sure, just in case anyone tried to steal any of their private belongings. When the family couldn't find Maya, they checked the footage, and they saw that the PETA agents had taken her. When they tried to call PETA to demand her back, PETA denied having taken her, and when they claimed that they had footage, the PETA agent hung up on them. In the end, the family sued PETA, and PETA tried using a law that had not been in place since 1966, saying that as she wasn't licensed, they couldn't sue for her. And they also tried to bring up the family's status as an immigrant. And the judge declined both those, but one thing the judge didn't decline was that the family could only sue for what the dog was worth. In the end, PETA had to pay the family $49,000, but even still, that did not give them enough to replace Maya. Now let's move on to the social problems. Some of their social problems are that they are always lying. They will constantly lie about different animal situations and farmers in general. If you look at one of their more recent ads against sheep shearing, you can see that they will use a fake sheep that they have carved to look as though they were horribly messed up when in the middle of shearing. And they claimed that this was a real sheep that they got from it. It wasn't until much later that they released that was a fake sheep. People still trust PETA even through all this, though, because they have this image as a place where people can go to help animals, that their main goal is to help them. Now let's move on to the final of their problems, the psychological problems. The biggest psychological problem is does PETA help more animals than they kill? The answer to this question is no. According to Lexology.com, PETA has a euthanasia rate for dogs that was more than 13 times the average rate for private shelters, and 11 times more for cats than the average private shelters. PETA tried to defend themselves against these claims by saying that they take in every animal, while those shelters only take in those that they can easily get adopted. This was proven false after just a closer look at those supposed other shelters. We can see in this graph the exact of the difference, with all animals for most private shelters as being just 14%, but for PETA, it's a whopping 65%. If it would, as PETA said, there would be at least a little bit closer in total of how many animals they kill. Let's go over everything we've talked about. We have talked about the moral problems with PETA, with how they have denied and even tried to lie about killing an animal and stealing it off of a family's property with Maya. They lie they will constantly lie to support their own ideas and get away with it because of what they believe they are doing right. And finally, the amount of animals that they kill, claiming that it's because they can't be given away. That'll be all. And remember, PETA is only an animal shelter because they just barely make the cut when compared to the amount of animals they kill.